everybody, it's the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition, playing a little pitch and catch with my nephew, Caleb.
Hey, guys.
He's the next Jerry Rice. Want to show him?
Yeah,
Let's
do
go.
it.
You're going to love this. Ready, set, go! Let's start the show. Yeah! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with my nephew, Caleb Lopes, and my main man, Stu, Real Stewart. What up, Stu?
What's going on? What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Stu? What's up, Maurice?
Hey, man, it's all good. It's good to see you, Stu. I know the Frisco departure from the tournament was very difficult to accept. How's everything going, Stu? How are you?
It's going well, man. I mean, we ain't have a quarterback. Can't win the game without a quarterback. So
it was an unfortunate situation for the 49ers. They didn't get a chance to play ball.
No.
And so we'll never know if the Eagles would have been able to defeat them had Purdy not gotten it. It's just been a bad year for the 49ers all the way around, and I will not rub it in any further than that. Just a very, very difficult situation as we prepare for Super Bowl LVII, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way this Sunday, February the 12th at 6:30 p.m. on Fox and Fox Deportes. And we got a lot of interesting things going on in the NFL as we prepare for Super Sunday. A lot of exciting things to talk about, one of which I'd like to dive into immediately regarding the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is, can the Chiefs' running game exploit the Eagles' 24th ranked defense? Stu, your opinion?
Most definitely. I wouldn't even call it an exploit. I mean, they're not the top ranked at stopping the run. They have a great pass rush, but they're going to have their hands full trying to stop Mahomes and his receivers. And I believe that Andy Reid is one of the, in my opinion, a top three, if not top two, offensive coordinators in this league, and he's going to do a great job at mixing it up and keeping them confused. And they're going to be watching for Kelsey and all the other weapons. So I believe that they will have success running the ball against Philly.
Caleb, your opinion?
Yeah, the Chiefs, they're gonna definitely exploit that Eagles defense. They in the run, the Eagles, they haven't been great at stopping the run all year, and I think Isaiah Pacheco, he's gonna be able to. I'd say get at least 75 to 100 yards.
Now, the bigger question to that is Isaiah Pacheco big enough or durable enough to carry the ball 25 times or more?
Yeah. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, he's shown that he is a pretty good running back throughout the season, but for a defense to be able to stop teams and get to this point in the Super Bowl, they're going to be decently good, and I don't think he's going to be durable enough to carry the ball more than 25 times. I think 25 is going to be around 25 is going to be his max.
Well, I'll say this about the Eagles defense: they're sneaky good. They're ranked 24th in the NFL on defense. That's not a very good overall ranking, but they're better than what the numbers would indicate. And they're sneaky good. And I think Pacheco is a guy. If I were Andy Reid, I'd just stick to the game plan that he's been going with all year, and just do what you've been doing. Don't do it, because I don't know if Pacheco is the kind of guy that can carry the ball that many times. I'd keep doing what I've been doing. But that leads to the next question, and that is Eagle head coach Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni was on the Kansas City Chiefs staff, headed by Andy Reid a few years ago. as he was under head coach at that time. It was Romeo Crennel, who went 2-14 with Sirianni on that staff. Andy Reid comes into Kansas City, and he brings David Culley with him as his OC. And so Nick Sirianni is holding a grudge against Andy Reid for not being retained on his staff. Is that a mistake or rightful motivation, Stu?
I think it can be looked at as both ways. I don't think it's a mistake. Andy has been in this league for quite some time and has accomplished a lot. You know, I believe that he'll have a great game plan, knowing his counterpart and vice versa. That with the familiarity of them knowing each other, that they both have great game plans. But it's going to come down to who can make the better adjustments. Once you stop what I like to do, which it's hard to do when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. We all know, like, this guy, you call the perfect defense, and he just flings the ball sideways, looking left, and the guy catches it and runs for a touchdown. So it's going to be good. The Eagles are going to have to remain disciplined and play some disciplined football and try to see what they can do and catch them slipping. And hopefully that pass rush that they have, that's one of the best things about their defense, is able to rise to the occasion and take this thing to the next level in the Super Bowl.
Caleb, your opinion, is this a mistake by Mr. Sirianni or rightful motivation?
I think it's rightful motivation, because you have to do whatever you have to do to get that motivation, to get that will that to win. And I feel like if this is what he needs to push him that one extra step further to go out there and win the Super Bowl, he can take this as motivation and run with it.
Well, that leads to my next headline or question. Does Nick Sirianni deserve a huge amount of credit for the Eagles' rise to power, or is it the fact that he has Jalen Hurts and a strong personnel? Because I'd tell you right now, Nick Sirianni, prior to the arrival of Jalen Hurts, the Eagles looked pretty bad. And Jalen Hurts is like MVP. And you got a pretty good running game, and you got a great offensive line. I don't know. I mean, who do we give the credit to? Stu, your opinion.
You definitely have to give the credit to both.
Okay.
What is a head coach without his player? What is Bill Belichick without Tom Brady? What is Andy, without the great players he's had? He hasn't won a Super Bowl until he got Patrick Mahomes. So it definitely takes a great marriage with a good coach. And then, finding that player, you have to draft them, first of all, and then you have to develop them, and I definitely saw the development of that quarterback, because the first year it was like, he's okay. And then second year they was like, but is he the guy? And then he blossomed this year with Hurts. So I definitely think it's a two-way street where we have to give credit. We know Hurts is playing MVP type of football, but we have to definitely give credit to the development of him, because he didn't play that way his first year. It definitely was a process. So I give credit where credit is due to both sides.
Caleb, your opinion.
Yeah, exactly what Stu said. It's a two-way street, and if Jalen Hurts and the great all the weapons on the offense, that O-line, that great secondary and the defense, if all of them weren't there, Nick Sirianni wouldn't have this rise to power like he did getting to the Super Bowl. But then again, Jalen Hurts with and all that star-studded offense with a bad coaching staff, they wouldn't get anywhere either. So it really is it's a two-way street, and they both need each other.
Well, I'm glad you guys are being very nice to Mr. Sirianni, because I'm not. He needs Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni needs to stop it. I don't want to hear anything about a grudge or anything. You got your team to the Super Bowl, now just go win it. And when it's over, then you can say whatever you want to. You can go and say, Andy Reid needs to stop eating so many cheeseburgers, but you haven't won it yet. You see what I'm saying? You do whatever you want to after you've won the Super Bowl. But as far as I'm concerned, it's Jalen Hurts and that running game that they've got, and they've got some nice personnel on defense as well. They've got a nice team. And so I don't know why Sirianni has picked this moment to say I got a grudge against Andy Reid. We move forward. What does Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy have to do to get a head coaching job in the NFL when an unproven TV analyst, Jeff Saturday, or an unknown fired head coach, Dennis Allen of the New Orleans Saints, gets hired? What's Bieniemy got to do, Stu?
Well, the first thing you have to do is be available. I haven't really heard too much noise. Correct me if I'm wrong, about him actually putting himself out there on the market as being available and looking for a job. He has a pretty sweet, in Kansas City. He may want to rack up some Super Bowl wins and then step out there on his own. But yeah, availability is the first thing. But I don't think he'll have a problem getting a job. But one of the things that comes with being a part of an offensive head coach is how much is you and how much is Andy. What are you actually contributing to the offense? And if he's able to articulate that and show his worth, just like as in Kyle Shanahan, you've seen our offensive head coach coordinator is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and Mike McDaniel, where he was able to show his growth and his worth. But it did take some time. Kyle and McDaniel were together for over, I think, 10 years plus. So I think he's just finding his time and definitely taking his time to learn all he can from Andy, so that when he steps away as as what's the head coach for, he was the head coach of Denver, was the offensive coordinator for Belichick. His name.
You mean right now, or
he used to be the Tom Brady's offensive coordinator for a long time, and then he's a head coach somewhere right now.
Lane Kiffin?
Is it McDaniels?
Well, he's the current coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I think it's Daniels. I think, I'm not sure.
That's what I'm looking at. His first head coaching job was in Denver, and it was horrible. Maybe he jumped out there too early. It looks like in Vegas he has something working, but I just think that he's taking his time learning from a great teacher in Andy Reid before he really jumps out there.
All right, Caleb, your position on this. Eric Bieniemy being an African-American assistant coach, not getting a head coaching job in the NFL when other retreads are out there getting jobs like Frank Reich and Dennis Allen, who got fired in 2014. He gets to follow up Sean Payton. You got to be kidding me. And a guy that was on ESPN talking about football from a desk, and yet Eric Bieniemy, an African-American. And we've only got 2 African-American head coaches in the NFL. And I believe D'Amico Ryan being one of them, who was just hired in Houston and currently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's my man's name in Tampa?
Man.
See, we can't even remember his name. So you got 2 black guys and a third guy that needs to get hired. Caleb, your opinion?
But Eric Bieniemy, he's a great offense coordinator. But like Stu said, that offense, everybody accredits Andy Reid with a lot of it. So we don't know 100% how great he really is. He could be drawing up all the plays, but he also couldn't. So I feel like he's taking his time, and I feel like if they go out there, win the Super Bowl, and he gets one more Super Bowl under his belt, I think he won't have a very difficult time as soon as he is available for a head coaching job. I think he'll get a job like that. So
the current head. Well, I listen. It should be difficult. It's been a minute. because Bieniemy's been available for the last 2-3 years, and there have been head coaching vacancies in the NFL. And again, he interviewed for the Indianapolis Colts job, and they
Okay.
went with the TV guy, the guy that does the Wheel of Fortune TV show, Jeff Saturday.
Did they
They hired
officially
him.
announce? They officially announced him being hired.
Well, he's not official.
Okay.
He's not official, but I'm just saying he could have come in when they brought Saturday in. They could have gone for Bieniemy, and they didn't do it. And he interviewed for the Saints job that Dennis Allen got, who's done nothing in the NFL. And this is the third Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy, and he can't get a job in the NFL. The current coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Todd Bowles. It's Todd Bowles and D'Amico Ryan, now officially the only two African-American coaches in the NFL that I can think of. I may be missing somebody, but I believe it's only those two. So
I believe that the Steelers head coach.
How could I forget Mike Tomlin?
Yeah,
of course.
There you go.
And Mike Tomlin is a staple. But that being said, we're going to move forward. What do we make of Aaron Rodgers being mentioned as the next starting quarterback in Las Vegas? Did Aaron and Davante Adams orchestrate this possibility? Aaron says after his darkness retreat, he'll let everybody know if he's got to retire or keep playing. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers, Stu?
I think he feels he needs a change of scenery. His number one weapon, which was the biggest. I believe that the biggest thing that he missed the most was his security blanket. He's not a great. We all know he's not a great teammate, and what comes with that is developing players and all of this stuff. He already has something that he's familiar with, that he knows that works. So I think he's like, if I'm going to do this again, I'd rather go where my guy is and, try one more time with him. If not, then retire. But you never know what Aaron is going to do.
Caleb, your opinion on this?
He can go to the Raiders. Davante is right there, someone that he knows, someone he's played with most of his career. And but I feel like there's this little something doesn't feel right to me if he does go to the Raiders. I feel like Davante Adams, the way he left Green Bay, it was almost like running from that association and running from the way that Aaron Rodgers had all that drama during the offseason. Will he retire? Will he not? And I feel like it'd be a little bit weird to have those two on the same team again. But it's a possibility that he'll go to the Raiders.
Well, at this point, I just wish he'd go away. I'm getting tired of this. I mean, as a Packer fan, it's like, dude, you're telling me you're going to go on a 4-day darkness retreat, and then you'll know. So you mean to tell me you're going to take 4 days doing bong hits, and then you're going to. Okay, look, let me just say this. It's time for the Packers to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Enough is enough. We love you. You're one of the best players to ever do it, but we don't have time for this, man. We don't have time for that. You need to go and be somebody else's problem. Much like Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA, who's now a Dallas Maverick. It's like, just go away and be somebody else's problem. I mean, honestly, I don't care how good you are. I don't care about how talented you are and all of that stuff. We don't need a head case on our team. Nobody needs a head case in their locker room. Period. It's called being a disruptor and a team destroyer. So for as talented as you are, you do no good thing for me by being a part of this organization. And I never thought I'd say this about Aaron Rodgers, but it's like, dude, enough. And stop smoking all of that dope. Okay, anyway, let's move on. We're going to get to the next headline.
I was going to say.
What's up, Stu? Go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as Davante Adams,
yeah,
I got 140 million reasons why he signed with Oakland.
Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
That was a huge contract, 140 million. Over what? It was 60 something million guaranteed, but I believe it was like a $19 million signing bonus. So
yeah,
That was the best situation for him, with the uncertainty of Green Bay, and if Aaron wants to do it one more time with his guy before he retires, I don't see a better opportunity than to go somewhere where they already have a quarterback that looks good, and I don't know how much he will learn from Aaron. Maybe learn what not to do as far as a leadership stands, but it's something just to add in there that may be a reason that something might happen.
Well, I know one thing that's going to happen, and that's lots of bong hits. All right, let's go to the next headline. Sean Payton is now the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. Question: can Sean Payton turn Russell Wilson back into the great quarterback he was in Seattle, or is he just simply done? Stu?
I think it's a situation where I don't know what exactly happened in Denver. Only Russell Wilson knows, and the teammates know. I don't know if it was his first time learning a new playbook in a long time, or
Yeah.
schematics, or what unfolded. Coaching, I don't know what happened, but I think if anybody can get it together, Sean Payton, I still believe he's top three in my opinion with Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid as far as play callers in the league, and I believe that if anybody with those three names they can get it done, and find out what's really going on with Russ, and also we as a 49er fan and watching a lot of Russell Wilson in his heydays, he played with a dominant defense and
Yeah.
a great running game in Marshawn Lynch. And
Yeah.
then he just had to do enough.
Yeah.
When this whole let Russ cook thing started developing, it was more of Russ making off-scheduled plays, but
Yeah.
he had such great chemistry with his receivers that things would work with Tyler Lockett and company. So not having that chemistry with these receivers and having to, go through the motions and the growing pains of learning a new offense and trying to lock everything down, I think took its toll on him. But I believe that Sean Payton could definitely dumb down and simplify the offense and surround it around Russell and what his likes and dislikes are, so that they can have the best possibility moving forward this season.
Okay, Caleb, your opinion.
I think it's this thing. Russ, he went from being one of the, I'd say, top five, if not top three quarterbacks in the league, to being one of the worst like that we've seen in a while.
Yes.
And I think a coach can't just flip a switch in a player like that to just make him do better. It has to be something that comes from the inside. And maybe Sean Payton, he can help him, but I don't think Russ is gonna go back to the Russell Wilson we were used to seeing in Seattle, throwing those deep bombs to DK Metcalf, I don't think it's gonna. I think he's done.
I think at some point you have to start putting the onus on the player. I mean, the first 5 to 8 games of the year, Nathaniel Hackett showed he was not the guy for the job. I think that's number one. We saw that. But then as the season progressed, knowing Russell the way that we all have known Russell as a quarterback throughout the years, we expected him to be able to provide a little bit of that magic so that it was better than what it turned out being. I mean, it was just pure awful football. And you're looking at, and we never saw any semblance of the Russell we knew in Seattle. I mean, not even a little bit. So I mean, and people try to compare Sean Payton's experience with Drew Brees and say he can do the same thing to Russell Wilson. Well, they're two different quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Brees was a pinpoint thrower of the football. And he knew exactly how to read defenses and break them down and so forth. Well, that's not Russell Wilson. He is not a guy that can place the ball wherever he wants to on the field on time. Like, he's just not that kind of quarterback. And he's not a guy that is a great reader of schemes and defenses. Not that he's poor. It's just not his strong suit. His strong suit is making plays. And Pete Carroll gave him the ability to make plays. And so I don't know if Sean Payton is going to be able to work with that. I didn't see a guy out there that can make plays anymore. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to be a guy who can win from the pocket. I've never seen that kind of Russell Wilson since he's been in the NFL. So I don't know. It might work. I mean, people want to call Sean Payton the quarterback whisperer. I don't know about that. The only quarterback whisperer I think I've ever truly seen in recent history is Andy Reid. Andy Reid's the guru. He can take Chad Henne. He can take a journeyman quarterback and make him a winner. Whether he's a champion or Super Bowl guy, I don't know. But if I put Patrick Mahomes with the Chargers, if I put Patrick Mahomes with the New Orleans Saints, if I put him with the Vikings, it's not going to be what we're seeing in Kansas City, I can guarantee you. And I don't want to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. He's a tremendous talent. Andy Reid is the guy. He's a great play caller, much like Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. It's the guy that's drawing them up. And can you put people in place to execute your plan? Sean Payton, he has a little bit of that. It's hard to say because Drew Brees was such a tremendous quarterback. We'll see what happens. I just didn't see anything from Russell Wilson that indicates to me that he's got anything left. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I'm like, what happened to Russell? So we'll see what happens. We'll find out how good of a coach Sean Payton is. What's up, Stu?
I think that what he's missing is the system. Just like with Kyle and Andy, if Sean is able to create a system to where he doesn't have to do much, but just follow the system, like the play is designed to go this way. You don't have to get to thinking and stuff like that. Just follow where the play is designed, make your quick reads and dump the ball off. I think it'll be better as he develops. And Peyton has had, different style quarterbacks. And Wentz, I forget the other guy that runs around a lot, but
Taysom Hill.
Right. He's developed different strategies for different style quarterbacks. And I think that, he should be able to come up with a good plan because Russell is talented. We know that. We don't know the debacle or what really happened or was Sierra mad that they were in Denver? I don't know what's going on. But I believe Sean could get something going to where from a schematic standpoint, it'll put him in a better situation moving forward. And creativity, I think they were lacking a little bit of that as well.
We shall see. That's going to be an interesting collaboration. Tom Brady retired last week. Is he going to be remembered as the greatest athlete in sports history, and or should he, or the best quarterback in sports history?
Do you want to go, Caleb?
Yeah, sure. Greatest athlete, I think he's. I'll say he's number 2. No one's beating Michael Jordan in that category.
Right.
Yeah, Mike. He was a different breed. So is Tom Brady. But he didn't get up to that caliber. But of course, he's definitely the greatest quarterback. There's no. I'd say the greatest football player to ever exist in sports history.
Stu, your opinion?
Definitely the greatest quarterback, I think, of all time. As the 49er fans holding on to Joe Cool, but I believe that Brady's accomplishments alone, he's definitely not only the greatest quarterback, but maybe the most accomplished person in sports history. As far as, being the greatest athlete, I'm not going to say that because Brady's not very athletic. He's smart. He's been fortunate enough to be on a great team with a great defense and Belichick and great coaching and stuff like that. And Brady has the ice water in his veins and rise to the occasion. So I would say more of I agree with Caleb as far as I would say in the top 3 of athletes, but definitely the best quarterback.
And I would stop there with it as well. I would say he's the best quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, hands down. I don't even think it's debatable. And I love Joe Cool. And prior to Brady, I'm going Joe Montana. And for my own personal liking, I still like Montana better. But Brady is better. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
And he's proven that. But when you start talking about athlete, even a football player, no, I mean, I can think of football players. I mean, as a football player, I
Yeah.
would pick over Brady. And certainly when it comes to athletes, I mean, he's not the greatest athlete in sports history. That goes to Michael Jordan. And there are a couple of other people I would even put him over, would put over Tom Brady. But too many people have gotten into this comparison with members of other sports. And I'm going, well, Michael Jordan was not just a great offensive player. He was a 9-time first defensive player,
Yeah.
first team all defense 9 consecutive years. So he played both ends of the floor at an extremely high level. And he came up with 6 championships when it was all said and done. Tom Brady, he got 7. And he went to another team to show everybody it wasn't about Belichick. It was about number 12. Bill Belichick is a guy that's going to fade away from our memory very soon if he doesn't turn things around in New England. I'm going to tell you that right now. People are going to forget about Bill Belichick. But Tom Brady, no. And we're starting to see that he made all the difference as a Patriot. Should the Jets, as we move forward, be shopping for a new quarterback, or is Zach Wilson their future? Stu?
To be fair, I think that's definitely going to be more of a conversation after the 2023 season to see some more tape on him. See if he get a chance to turn it around and just like we were talking about Hurts or my quarterback up there in Buffalo. He didn't do too well the first 3 years, and then he just came. We'll see. The jury is still out on that. I think after this season coming, we'll have a more definite answer as far as yes, they need to get another quarterback. He is not the guy. Or if we see some progression this year, and like, okay, we're starting to see the stuff that we saw in college with him, it'll definitely come. I think it'll be after this season.
Caleb, your thoughts?
I think they should, but I think they should definitely be shopping for a new quarterback, especially in this draft, with a loaded draft class with some pretty great college quarterbacks. But I feel like they should keep Zach Wilson, see how he does. Like Sue said, see how he does this in the 2023 season, and which I don't think he's gonna improve. That's just my personal take on it. I think he's gonna stay the same, but they should definitely be shopping around for a new quarterback, seeing options for someone new that could replace him in case of total meltdown mid-season. So
my initial thoughts of Zach Wilson at the beginning of the season is bum. And as the season progressed, I thought, well, maybe he's not a bum. Maybe I was wrong. And as the season continued to progress further, I'm back to bum. And you see, it's one thing when you're the superstar at BYU. That's one thing. NFL's a little bit different. And he's not the guy. And to your point, Caleb, I don't see him getting any better. The Jets have made a huge mistake in their investment, as they usually do. And they need to find a quarterback. There was talk that Aaron Rodgers may go there. I don't care how many days he stays in that dark room retreat, and I don't care how many bong hits he has. He will not go to the Jets. Okay. Well, unless those people. I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna say any more about that. Look, they need to find a quarterback. The Jets need to find a quarterback. They made a bad investment into Zach Wilson. They've got a great defense. The Jets have a great defense,
It might get
and it
Jimmy.
would be a pity if they can't find a way to move that ball on offense. They were screaming Mike White after one great game he had, and he showed everybody what he really was, a bum.
Yeah.
And you're not going to start Joe Flacco. Don't talk to me about that silliness. Anyway, we're going to move on. The next headline: should the 49ers invest in Brock Purdy as their starter and Trey Lance as their backup? Stu.
I believe this might be a situation where, depending on the surgery that he chooses, which I think he's going to be making his announcement soon, it'll make the decision for them. If Brock gets the full reconstruction surgery, he'll be out the whole year this year. What is it called? The Tommy John's or
Tommy John surgery, yes.
Yeah, Tommy John's. If he gets that, which I personally believe he should get, I think that's the best situation for him in his career moving forward. Instead of band-aiding the problem and may lose velocity and stuff like that. If he gets the surgery, Trey will be the guy. If he doesn't, he'll be the guy. I think he's earned that. Trey, I believe, might get his opportunity if he's unable to be healthy or if he doesn't play this year. I don't like a lot of the criticism that's been on Trey after playing 2 or 3 NFL games. I think the jury is definitely still out on him. He hasn't played a lot of football. He still has a lot of developing and learning to do. And he didn't play a lot of football in college. He only played he started 1 year. And then the 2020 season, of course, the team decided to sit out because of COVID. And then he was drafted the following year. So I believe Brock has earned the respect of the team and the locker room. And I honestly believe that if he did not go out in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game, that we would be having a different conversation with him being a rookie and Mr. Irrelevant and going to the Super Bowl. So I definitely think that he has earned the right to be the starter in San Francisco.
Caleb, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, for sure. 100% Brock is going to be a starter. That is if he doesn't get that the surgery, the total reconstruction surgery. If he doesn't, he's 100% their starter. But like Stu said, a lot of people hate on Trey Lance when he's played. I think it was 6 games in 2 years. It really isn't fair to him. He hasn't shown what he has to give to the team, to the NFL. He hasn't shown his full potential, and I think it'll be a pretty good opportunity for Trey Lance. That is, if Brock Purdy isn't starting this season. It'll show whether he really is that the guy that deserved to be taken high in the draft, or the quote unquote bum that everybody's saying that he is.
Well, I definitely don't think Trey Lance is a bum. What they are saying is he had trouble with the playbook, and he wasn't picking it up. Stuff like, Coach, what is that word? What's that word, Coach? It's football. Thanks, Coach. Anyway, look, let me just, I think Trey Lance is a guy. I'll say this: Brock Purdy better get that arm ready. He better be ready to roll coming into next season, because if not, I think Trey Lance absolutely can run that offense.
Yeah.
And I think he can take it to another level. And Brock Purdy may not see the field again. Because if I'm Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance looks like he can run my offense, he's going to be my guy. Mm-hmm. Trey Lance is going to be my guy if he can run that offense. So if I were Brock Purdy, I would do everything in my power to be ready to roll once the season starts, because Trey Lance is going to be ready. And I think, Brock Purdy can run it. I think it's very obvious that he can run the offense very, very well. But I think Trey Lance can too. And if he's healthy, he's going to be the guy for me to go ahead and take over. I mean, just you've invested too much money into Trey Lance. And so he has to be that guy. But bottom line, it could go either way. I think the 49ers are in good stead. I think they're in the catbird seat. I don't see how the 49ers can really lose with either healthy guy. You know, I think that they're looking good at that quarterback position. So if I were the 49ers, I would not be worried too much at all. As I mentioned them and quarterbacks, are the Vikings stuck with a good quarterback who will never take them to the Super Bowl? And should they be interested in Aaron Rodgers? Stu.
Um, I I think that they should be interested in drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
Drafting his replacement. Drafting somebody because Kurt, he's not one of those guys that was not going to teach a new quarterback. He's not one of those. They always said even in Washington he was a good team locker room guy, but I believe that they need to go ahead and invest in the future. Aaron Rodgers is more of a right now situation, and that's more of a trade. Kirk Cousins to get Aaron Rodgers. I don't see how you can pay both of those guys on the same team. So with Aaron, it'll be a similar situation because he doesn't have the chemistry. Of course, they have Jefferson, who is a beast. You don't have to just put it in the vicinity, and he's going to catch it. It would be an upgrade for them to go with Aaron, but it would be expensive depending on how he feels. And I don't know as far as the team chemistry he would have, and that would be a gamble in itself. Me personally, I would invest in drafting a guy and grooming him up to take over Kurt's spot moving forward.
Caleb, your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, like Kirk, he's the most average quarterback I think in the NFL right now. He'll get them to the close to the playoffs, and then there'll be a first round out. So yeah, like Stu said, I think they should invest in someone that's coming out the draft. They'll keep Kirk as a starter for maybe two more years, and Kirk will teach the kid how to be a decent quarterback. And if he really has potential, he'll rise above Kirk Cousins and maybe and be better. But I think if they want a right now alternative, I think they should go after Aaron Rodgers. And like Stu said again, it's gonna be a trade. Aaron Rodgers for Kirk Cousins, or Kirk Cousins for Aaron Rodgers. So either one would be an okay situation for the Vikings.
When you look at Kirk Cousins, and this is pretty bad to have to say, but we have to keep this thing 100 as football fans. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins is not a great quarterback.
No.
Kirk Cousins is also not the kind of good quarterback that can make a play when you have to have that play. Like, there are a lot of good quarterbacks that can make plays when they have to be made.
Right.
And, year after year, if you look at the stat sheet with Kirk Cousins, tremendous. But if you peeled the cover off and looked at what really happened, there were games and critical situations where Kirk Cousins did not show up and was the reason they didn't win. Because when it gets hot in the kitchen, Kirk Cousins can't be found. And the last memory we have, once again, of the Minnesota Vikings is them leaving the tournament because Kirk Cousins thought they had 5 downs.
Yeah.
You like that?
You don't throw. Yeah, you like that, Kirk? No, we don't like it. You don't throw a first down attempt before you get to the stick. This is your chance to win or go home, and you played it safe and threw it 5 yards short of the stick. Every year, Kirk Cousins does something like this when a critical play needs to be made. And you have to look at a quarterback. Matt Stafford is a guy that'll make a critical throw. Matt Stafford will make a throw when he's got to make it. He'll throw a pick, yeah. But when it's time to make a play, Matt Stafford will make a play. He's got a ring. Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is showing the same thing. Aaron Rodgers. Old Aaron Rodgers. Lately, he hadn't been doing that.
The old
Tom
Russell
Brady.
Wilson.
What's that?
I said the old Russell Wilson.
The old Russell Wilson made plays when he had to make them. And you just look at the Super Bowl winners of the past. They had quarterbacks that could make a play, and Kirk Cousins has never done that. And so I think that's where the Vikings are. It's like, do we get rid of a consistently good quarterback for a guy that can make a play, has the cojones to make a play when you got to have it? And you don't have to be great. But that's my 2 cents on that. We move to the Cleveland Browns, who have a very interesting situation at quarterback. And do you think with Deshaun Watson going into next season that the Cleveland Browns are poised, Stu, to make a Super Bowl run?
I won't say Super Bowl run. I would say, have a shot in the playoffs. The AFC is stacked. I mean, you got Buffalo, you got Kansas City, you got the Chargers, you got the Ravens, so many. You got Joe Burrows and the Bengals. So it's definitely loaded. So I believe that he'll have a better shot to at least make the playoffs. But once he gets in the playoffs, it's no cakewalk. He's going to have to earn it every step of the way. So I'm going playoffs, but I'm going to hold the Super Bowl talk. He got to earn that.
Okay, Caleb?
Yeah, Super Bowl is a bit of a stretch. I'd say like wild card team, early playoffs, but no more than that for me. They have a decent team. Adding Deshaun Watson, that made it better. Got a stable QB in there. They have a great running game with Nick Chubb, but I don't think they could carry it all the way to the Super Bowl. And I don't think they make it past the first round of the playoffs.
I think Cleveland has the ability to get into that Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City area. I think they have the ability. I think they're coming. They have a good team. They have a good running game, as you alluded to accurately, Caleb, in Nick Chubb. And that they have a good offense, and they have a good defense. And they finished the year strong once Deshaun figured it out and got his feet back under him, and they finished very strong. So I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland all of a sudden gets in that elite area in the AFC. We'll see what happens. Just throwing that one out. Lastly, for our NFL headlines, would Las Vegas be a great landing spot, Stu, for Jimmy G?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I believe, to be honest with you, and it's not no slight to Jimmy, from what I've seen from the guy that they have right now, he can do more than what Jimmy can do.
Who you talking about? Stidham?
Yeah, Stidham. I'm just talking about from, you saw what he did against our defense. 49ers had the number one defense in the league, and we went blow from blow. He showed that he had the gene that Kurt is missing. He showed that he's just a rookie. I mean, he's going to learn. But I think Jimmy's a better fit in New York at the Jets, where he goes to a familiar situation, to someone who knows him. Because with Jimmy, his formula for winning is great defense, great running game, and then comes Jimmy. In Oakland, you're going to have to pass the ball, Jimmy. You're going to more than 10 yards, more than 5 yards, more than those little dumps that he was used to with Shanahan in San Francisco, because of our running game and our defense. Oakland is not structured and built for a Jimmy. They're structured for a guy who can go down the field and make things happen. I think Stidham is a better fit for that system. I don't think systematically that's a great fit for Jimmy.
Caleb, your thoughts?
Honestly, I agree with your take on Jimmy G not being a great fit for Las Vegas. But the thing about Stidham, I feel like he's kind of shaky. He might have done that to the 49ers defense, but I think that was almost, I feel like that was a prime example of almost like beginner's luck.
Yeah, it's a prime example.
And but I feel like Jimmy G, he'd be great for a team like maybe the Jets or a team that already has a pretty decent build and I feel and has a stable defense, a stable running game, and that's just not what I don't think Jimmy G would just fit. He wouldn't fit in with the Las Vegas team and how they're structured, just like you said, Stu.
Now, you guys have heard of Elephant Graveyard, correct?
I have, yes.
The New York Jets is where quarterbacks go to die. Quarterback graveyard, New York. So I wouldn't go there. And Jason Stidham was a guy that nobody had seen. He'd been riding the bench ever since he entered the league since last year. I don't think it took a snap until Frisco came to Vegas. There's no video on him. He knows the offense, caught the 49ers off guard, had a great game. Next week, he gets his head stopped on. I don't know if it was the Chargers. I don't know who stopped all over it, but it was the Chiefs. He got his head kicked in. All that stuff he did against the 49ers, it was God. Andy Reid and his defensive coordinator did their homework, and they shut him down. And oftentimes a new quarterback will come out, nobody's seen, and have a good game. And the next game, most defensive coordinators prepare for that guy, and they shut him down. Much like Brock Purdy, who proved after a 7-0 start that, hey, this guy's pretty good. He can run this offense. But Jason Stidham, I wouldn't trust Jason Stidham. But to your point about Jimmy G having to throw the ball all around the yard, might be a little dicey. But I know the Raiders are looking for a quarterback. It has been thrown out there that Jimmy G could end up there. I trust Garoppolo on a team that's got everything in place. It doesn't have to be like a Super Bowl team, but have everything pretty much in place. And all he has to do is go out there and make a play here and there. He's perfect for that. Don't know if the Raiders is the place for him, but there's a place for Jimmy G. It's no question. Yeah.
I got some stats for you. And I'm gonna talk about Stidham because I saw he hasn't had a lot of playing time, and I saw some little bloops of talent to where I'm like, okay, he is something there that can be developed. But in that game, the next game where the Chiefs won 31-13, just a quick stat line. Mahomes went 18 for 26 with 202 yards and 1 touchdown, where Stidham was 22 for 36 with 219, a touchdown and a pick. I believe that he is some talent there that can be developed if he has the right coaching staff and the right plan around him. I don't know how high his ceiling is, but I believe there might be something there. I saw more fight in him than Kirk Cousins.
Well,
I may not be saying much.
That's not saying a whole lot. But that being said, we are going to wrap up the show in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to break down Super Bowl 57.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3. Listen,
brother, listen. Rising comic. You got Zachary. All he has to do is say, yo, stop, Zachary. Okay, are you Nancy? You say, yo, you already know? That's the most gangster thing I have heard all day, nigga. So you work downtown. Is that all you're going to give me, or we going to... Okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to be up here 15 more minutes just staring at you. Nothing to do. Wait real hard like you're having a seizure, all right? You homestead, man. You ain't got to say nothing out loud. Don't hold his arm. Don't hold his arm, first lady. Be all right. Beautiful plays during the day. Nighttime, gotta lock the doors. He got married, then married again. Is this how y'all do it homestead? Y'all just take... Yeah, like, I'm only kidding. You don't have to come up. Sip some water and just leave it up there for people. They said, no hablo inglés. He said, comedy show. Yes. I said, God, turn your life around. He did it for me. He turned my life around 360 degrees. Okay, some of y'all need to go back to math class. Y'all like, what's the problem with that?
All right, we are back to the Maurice Brown Show, Super Bowl edition. Super Bowl 57 coming your way. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox and Fox Deportes. Stu, who you got?
I believe it's going to be a great game. I'm taking the Chiefs. I believe that, to be honest with you, one of the most surprising, two of the most surprising things is one, how he had in 5 days, Patrick Mahomes was playing like he didn't have that injury, a high ankle sprain. I mean, it's unbelievable. I can't even, I can't wait to see what he does with 2 weeks of healing and preparation for that. And also, a lot of people aren't talking about is the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense have risen to the occasion. They are Jones and the crew. They're hunting. They're getting after the quarterback. They're playing physical. They're really trying to match the offense. Of course, we always put the offense above the defense in Kansas City, but I think the Chiefs' defense is going to be the unspoken thing that gets them the dub. I know Patrick. He's going to do what he does. We already established earlier. I believe they're going to be able to run the ball on Philly. I believe that Kelsey's going to have a monster game. And I know the Eagles are going to come to fight, and they're going to make it interesting. But I believe that Andy Reid and Mahomes and company will be a little bit too much for Philly. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
Caleb, who you got?
No, I got the Eagles. I think they just have that all-star offense. Jalen Hurts with that running game, and they have both their running back and their quarterback can run the ball. And not only is Jalen Hurts a running quarterback, he can throw it through the air. They got AJ Brown on the outside at wide receiver. They got Devontae. I forgot his name. The wide receiver too. He's shown some great talent this year, and their defense, which is also an underrated defense, I feel like it should be enough to moderately stop Patrick Mahomes and his crew with Kelsey, and it's gonna be a dogfight though. But I think that the Eagles should be able to pull through.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. I think it's going to be a great game, though, and it could go either way. I mean, the Eagles could easily win this game. I just think that the Eagles have had kind of a soft schedule. They really haven't played anybody all year, and the losses that they have were to teams they shouldn't have lost to. The Commanders physically manhandled them, and they lost to the Saints. Even with the backup in Gardner Minshew, you should have been able to beat the Saints. I mean, his mustache alone should have been able to beat the Saints, and they weren't able to do that. So I don't know. I mean, the Eagles just haven't had a lot of difficulties on their road this year. And in the playoffs, they played a fraudulent New York Giant team because they're frauds. All of them except Saquon Barkley. So they got to pass. What's that? Yeah, Danny Dimes. Yeah, Danny Dimes. He really hoodwinked him with that fake name. Anyway, so they summarily dismissed the G-men 38-7 or something like that, wasting America's time. And then the following week, they had the 49ers, whose starting the third and fourth string quarterbacks were knocked out of a championship game. Hey, that's not the Eagles' problem. They have to play who's in front of them, and they took care of their business. They won the game 31-7. This is the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Yeah. They hadn't seen anybody like that all year. They hadn't played the Buffalo Bills. They hadn't played the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't play a healthy San Francisco 49er team. Okay. Even the Dallas Cowboys gave them some fight. Heck, the Packers almost beat them. So I haven't seen anything to me to indicate that they're ready for Kansas City. I just haven't seen enough from them to be convinced, as great a year as they've had, that they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They just hadn't seen anything like it all year. But I don't want to take anything away from Jalen Hurts' MVP year, because he has had that. And he's balled out. And I don't want to take anything away from them. They're dangerous. One thing I can tell you, and you said the Chiefs' defense is nothing to be, sneezed at, if you will. I will say they stepped their game up against Joe Burrow, because you can't go mocking my stadium and renaming my stadium. You can't do that. No man worth his salt is going to let you come into his house and start moving the sofa around. I think the sofa should be by the window. Excuse me? Okay, so no, they weren't having it. Chris Jones in particular. Not in my house, dude. So they play great ball, as they should have. This is Arrowhead Stadium, not Burrowhead. So you come into the Super Bowl now, and you're looking at Jalen Hurts and a pretty potent Eagle offense. And it's going to be a challenge. But I got the Chiefs winning this one. There's no question in my mind about that. Super Bowl 57, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Fox and Fox Deportes. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to be a great game. The national anthem is going to be sung by country singer Chris Stapleton. America the Beautiful by actress Cheryl Lee Ralph. And also, it's not America the Beautiful. That should be Lift Every Voice and Sing. And that's going to be done by Cheryl Lee Ralph. Babyface is going to do America the Beautiful. And DJ Snake is going to be spinning doing the pregame warm-ups, yo. So that's going to be great leading up to the kickoff. And then actor Troy Kitzer is going to be doing the American Sign Language national anthem version, along with Colin Denny, a deaf actress, or actor, I should say, doing America the Beautiful, and Justina Miles doing Lift Every Voice and Sing. And Rihanna is going to be doing a halftime show. So it's going to be very exciting. Super Bowl 57, no question about that. We are about to step out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with us and watching the show. This is going to be the official last one for a while. We may do one every month until the next season. We'll do something like that. But before we skip out of here for essentially the last time, Stu, your final thoughts.
I believe it's been a great but rough season. As a 49er fan, having our first two quarterbacks go out, and then the third quarterback, rise to the occasion just to get hurt in the NFC Championship game. But I believe that, as a 49er fan, we don't have anything to hold our heads down about, that we exceeded expectations with the circumstances that were dealt. And I believe next year will be a great year for football. Hats off to the Kansas City Chiefs and Philly. This is a historic game with two, I think the first time in NFL history with two black quarterbacks facing each other. So that's history, and that's awesome. I don't really have a dog in the fight. May the best team win, but I believe the Chiefs will go ahead and take it home, and Mahomes will have his second Super Bowl along with Andy Reid.
Caleb, your final thoughts, sir.
It's been an interesting season, kind of pretty crazy season. Some interesting storylines, especially with the 49ers, with all three of their quarterbacks going out, getting injured. But y'all had a great season. Exceeded expectations, and y'all, I know y'all are gonna come back next year stronger than ever. And it's been a great season. Hoping to have one more great game to watch, and it's going to be a long 6 months, no football.
Well, it will be a long 6 months without football. I will say, when I look back on this past year in the NFL, it's been a little disappointing when I look at the NFC. And I have a dog in the fight in the NFC. I'm a Packer fan. Stu, you got the 49ers. You have a dog in the fight in the NFC. And it's usually a much tougher conference. To the point I was trying to make earlier, the Eagles had a pretty easy path this year to the Super Bowl. Again, the Giants are frauds. The Vikings are frauds. Okay. Aaron Rodgers would rather go into a tent in the mountains and do bong hits. The Dallas Cowboys, they're frauds. Dak Prescott is, I'm sorry, I think he's fraudulent, and they need a quarterback. And you just look at the LA Rams. What happened to the LA Rams? They won the Super Bowl last year, completely disappeared.
McVay was
were
in
not
that tent.
a factor at all. You expected the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to play better than they did. Horrible. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were horrid. And it was time for Tom Brady to leave. Unfortunately, he had to leave on the terms in which he did, but it was time. So all of the teams that we kind of expected to be powers, they were not. I mean, they were not. And the 49ers, they did become that team eventually, but they had to fight through it. I mean, Trey Lance got hurt second game of the season.
Yeah.
Then you have to go to Jimmy G, and then he starts to get it going. He's down. Then you go down to Brock Purdy, make the playoffs with Brock Purdy. He goes down. Then you go to Josh. You're down to 4 quarterbacks and Christian McCaffrey. So I just don't think we got a fair look at it. And then again, it may be fair. I mean, it just wasn't a good year for the NFC.
Yeah.
The AFC was very dominant, and they were must-see TV with the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs. I mean, they were must-see TV. The Ravens were at one point, then they lost Lamar Jackson, but outside the Dolphins, for a minute, were must-see TV. The Chargers, for a minute, were must-see TV. They were disappointing. So there were a lot of disappointments in the NFL this year, I would say. And I'd like to see a better year. And it's not just because my Packers weren't there. I just like to see a better seat. The Steelers were not a factor. You always expect Mike Tomlin and the Steelers to be a factor. They were not. But if they know what's good for them, stick with Kenny Pickett. He bought fool's gold bringing in Trubisky. I don't know why you bought Mitchell Trubisky in. And so leave him on the bench, start Pickett. We may see something different from Pittsburgh. So that's my take, my final thoughts on the year. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Maurice Brown Show, Super Bowl edition, probably the last NFL show for the year. But in the meantime, you can check out, if you're interested in stand-up comedy, hey, go to lolgca.org and get your tickets for the comedy conference in Triangle, Virginia for just $75 up until Super Bowl Sunday. After that, it's $150. The conference dates are October 5th through the 7th. So get your tickets now for that. And if you've enjoyed the show, like it and share it, and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy channel, as well as any social media engine that Antoine Real Stewart is a part of. And Caleb doesn't have anything on social media, but he plays for the Treasure Coast Patriots football team, the AU13 football team, #1 in the nation football team. And I'm sure you could follow those guys on social media. Do you guys have a social media handle on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, Caleb, or a website?
Yeah, just go to TC Patriots on Instagram and the same name on TikTok, and you'll be able to see all of our rankings, all of our important stuff on Instagram. Sometimes we post on
Awesome
TikTok.
stuff. I love it.
And, one cool thing today, a ranking came out, and one of our 8U players, he was ranked number 5 in the nation as a prospect. So
who is this?
Mike, let's see his last name here.
Is he your quarterback?
No, he's on 8U. He is a quarterback though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Here. Mike Bernaya.
Michael Bernaya. And
Yeah.
the quarterback on your team's pretty good too. What's his name?
Yeah. Champ Mons.
Champ's a bad boy. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
right now. He's going to the league too, dude. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Heck of a quarterback from your AU13 team. And so, ladies and gentlemen, try to keep up with the Treasure Coast Patriots, AU13 Little League team down in Port St. Lucie, Florida. The season kickoff will be when, Caleb?
March 4th.
March 4th. So you can follow those guys throughout the year and go to their website and follow them. And we'll probably be on sometime in March for another show as we get closer to the NFL draft. We may do a pre-NFL draft show. You can also listen to the show on the replay on Facebook or YouTube if you didn't get a chance to see it. And also tomorrow about midday on Roku TV on the Creative Motion Network. We are heard where all major podcasts are heard: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Radiocast, Pocket Cast, you name it. We're there. Check us out. Until next March, I guess, everybody. May the peace of Christ be with you and your families, and God bless everybody.